Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
All right, so I was watching a video from a YouTuber named Hello Yasim. He's a really cool YouTuber I follow, and he did this video about Jay-Z and Pharrell putting out one of the worst songs of the year. I don't know if y'all saw the record. It's called Entrepreneur, okay, by Jay-Z and Pharrell. I'm gonna look it up, but I wanted to highlight this, and I did want to send him a shout out because I didn't listen to the record. Usually when Jay-Z and Pharrell put out a record together, everybody stops and listens, right? Everybody stops and listens. But with this record, I just never got around to hearing it. And I didn't really know why. And then Hello Yasin made a video talking about how like this is one of the worst records of the year. I wanted to highlight this because this is an example of how streaming has changed everything. What do I mean? I mean that in 2020, it doesn't matter if Jay-Z and Pharrell, two of the biggest icons of our space, do a record together. If the record's not good, it's not gonna go. It's not gonna chart. It's not gonna survive. And that's what happened with this record. I'm gonna play you guys a little bit of the record. Primarily, what saved this record is the visual, right? Is the visual. The visual of this is fire. I'll play a little bit of the visual real quick. But I don't know how many of you guys have heard this record. It's really bad. Like, this joint is pretty awful, right? Even like with Jay-Z and Pharrell, and it highlights different black entrepreneurs, which I think is a brilliant concept for the visual. But goodness gracious, this song is not great. And it goes to show that in 2020, it doesn't matter if you're Jay-Z and you're Pharrell. If you aren't delivering a great record, it's not going to go. Period. It doesn't matter. Somebody's going to move on to the next thing. So I want to use that. I want to use this as a point. And again, go listen to this record. Y'all tell me if y'all think I'm tripping. Jay-Z is one of my favorite rappers, if not my favorite rapper. Pharrell's one of the illest producers of the last 2 decades. And these two coming together on a record. And by the way, check this out. This joint got 8 million streams, and it's been out since... When did this come out? It's been out for a couple months. For Pharrell and Jay-Z record to only have 8 million views, that's like a massive L. Like, those aren't great numbers. It has 8,000 dislikes. So I say all that to show I dug the video. I thought the song was terrible. I thought the song was really bad. But what is the point I'm making? In 2020, it's not about the hype around the record. It's not about the collaboration and the clout around the record. It's not about how compelling the story is around the record. It's about the record. And you know what the analytics that drive these records is not how many people go and listen to it the first time. That's important. What drives the analytics around these records is, do people listen to it again? Do people skip it and not finish the record? So how long your record is? Does it have replay value? Do people skip it in the middle of the record because it's too long? All of these things make a difference. And this was really interesting to me that they had this big rollout for this Jay-Z Pharrell record. You know, if this record would have came out 20 years ago, this would have been all over radio. We wouldn't have heard the end of this daggone song. Everybody would have talked about it for months and months and months at a time. But in 2020, because of how these algorithms are set up, not even Jay-Z and Pharrell can finesse the system and the algorithms and the consumer anymore. Why does that matter? Because it puts the power back into the consumer's hand, and it puts the power back into the independent artist's hands. That, hey, you may not have the initial launch of a song that they have, but if you got a good song and if it's replay value and you at least roll it out halfway decent, you can touch these algorithms. And if you partner with somebody that can help you get it in some vlogs, help you get some exposure to it, that's freaking awesome, man. So I wanted to get some of your guys' thoughts.
Well, first I was going to make a comparison. If Jay-Z dropped an album, that's completely different. But this single, I agree with you. Like, I turned it on and I was just like, this is something I never wanted to hear.
It's bad,
right
bro.
now.
It's top to bottom, just bad. Like, his verse is okay, but the whole record is awful.
I think it just didn't work at all, and the song wasn't good at all. So, like, it didn't work.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Here's the interesting part. People, for Jay-Z and Pharrell specifically, remember their wins way more than they remember their losses. This is a massive L for them, in my opinion. So what does that mean? That means that if you, as an independent artist, can sustain yourself enough to keep getting a shot at bat with new music, new content, new visuals, keep getting a shot to put stuff out, eventually your wins will outweigh your losses. Eventually you can get something to touch the algorithms, even if 9 of them don't. And Jay-Z has had quite a few losses, but it just goes to show that even the two of the biggest pop icons can drop a bad song. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really wild. That's really wild to think about. I don't know if anybody else has heard this record in the Zoom call that wants to chime in.
My question to you though would be, do you feel like if the video came out first and then maybe like the streaming stuff later, you think that would have had an effect on it? Or do you feel like it was just, because it reminds me of kind of like This Is America with Childish Gambino.
Which was an incredible record. Right,
I think it's a good record too, but I feel like the video kind of took it to the, if I had heard the song, just the song and not the video, I think I don't know if I would feel as strongly about it, but I think the video kind of boosted it.
I think the video boosted it, but I feel like This Is America is a hit record. Like, it's top to bottom. It's a killer record. It's a killer. There's an amazing hook. This is like Pharrell, bad singing, bad mix, weird instrumentation, extra unnecessarily long, unnecessary repeats of the chorus. Clearly the visual didn't take it over the top. This is an incredible visual. Top to bottom, this visual was beautiful, and it still fell flat. Again, Jay-Z and Pharrell got less than 10 million views. I can't even find the release date of this, but this has been out for a couple weeks. This has been out over a month.
Me, I think he's hit or miss vocal wise. Like,
yeah,
and even on Lemonade, the one with Rihanna, like, I don't even know if like I'd consider his part that great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you make a great point where it's hit or miss, but again, 15, 20 years ago, this would have been a hit record just because they would have shoved it down our throats through radio, and there would have been no analytics on a way to gauge if people really liked it, because it's Jay-Z and Pharrell, it's Jay-Z and Pharrell, it's Jay-Z and Pharrell, and we would have just suffered through this record being played over and over. Now with Spotify and Apple Music, they'll just be like, nah, bro, people are skipping this record. It's not good. We're taking it off the playlist, and you're done. In 2020, anybody can get sliced and cut. Like, anybody can have a record flop if the record is not good, which to me, in my opinion, puts the power back into the artist's hands and puts the power back into the consumer hands. But did you listen to 444?
Oh, I love that. Love that.
Because it was a good record.
But I don't even think that album appeals to like a mainstream kind of like algorithm. You know what I mean?
I think what made that album dope was the nostalgia of the samples that No ID picked, which drove the replay value. And I think that it was scarce in that how content rich it was. So it was a very content rich record with very nostalgic samples, and that's why it worked. And I would assume it's why it still has a degree of replay value.
No, that album is still, to me, great.
Yeah, and young kids like it, and old heads like it, and I think top to bottom it's a dope. That's a dope record. I just think this wasn't it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
As far as dope as the visual was, and the visual is really beautiful and it's really inspiring. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little emotional watching the visual, especially the part of this lady right here who's a CEO of Tribe Midwifery, and her story and tying it in. I thought it was beautiful. But yeah, it's wild, man. So it just goes to show, man, listen, anybody could touch the algorithm and anybody can get slayed in the algorithm. Like, that's a fact.
I have one question though.
Yeah.
Do you think if Kanye was on that record, it would have been better?
Nah, bro, because Kanye has had records flop recently. Like, Kanye has had records flop. You know what I'm saying?
Well, do you mean like I Love It with Lil Pump?
Yeah, like that was a flash in the pan record, and then it fell off the face of the earth. It fell off the face of the earth. Like it was we watched it for the. Well, I didn't really even listen to that song all the way through, but it was for the shock value and how weird it was. Yeah. But that record didn't maintain. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a top 10 Kanye record.
Arguably, though, every high school, college party you go to, that song plays.
Touche.
Just wanted to say I'm probably the only one who likes that song, to be honest with you.
Aw, bro, that song's terrible, man. Now you got me questioning your taste in music.
The visual make you want to like it, though.
Like I can see why people dislike it. Like I don't know, maybe it's a guilty pleasure.
Who said the visual
But,
makes you want to? The visual definitely makes you want to like it.
Like
for
that's
sure.
me wrong. Like I was just watching the videos this whole time, and I feel like it's just so, like with the stories and not the lyrics, but like the text down there. Like I feel like it draws you into the story to where like the sounds of the song. It's not like incredibly pleasant, but you still like, dang, like there's.
It's
I don't know.
powerful,
Just
yeah.
felt special.
I never even saw the video,
Imagine
to be
if it was a good song. Imagine if it was a good
Yeah.
song.
No.
This video.
Interesting.
And also, I had another quick question. Would you consider "Wash Us in the Blood" a flop? Because I know everybody initially loved it, but like it went away like after maybe 2 weeks. And I never really liked the song, to be honest with you. So that's why
I think it
figured people
flopped,
just got
but I
tired of it.
love it.
I think it's decent, but people loved it at first, and then it's like, well, people really loved it. Travis Scott, Kanye, why is it not on the charts anymore? Why did we never really heard of it since?
The only reason I don't get to play it often is because I use Tidal, and they don't have it on Tidal because Kanye and whatever that's going on.
That's a great point though on why it didn't stick around. You know what I'm saying?
You think people just got tired of it? Like it wasn't that great to where people wanted to play it for an extended period of time, like other Kanye records?
I think it also has to go with like the social kind of like view of Kanye right now, just with his conservative kind of craziness. Well, it's conservative / like perceived craziness, and people don't necessarily want to associate with him anymore.
That's a great point, Noah. The thing with Kanye is he's in a, where does that record fit, right? He's not deep in the Christian music industry side of things.
No,
That's not gonna go off in the club, right?
Yeah.
Wash Us in the Blood doesn't have a place to really live, in my opinion. Like it's a weird intersection outside of a direct to consumer relationship. Wash Us in the Blood doesn't really have like where do you play it? You know what I'm saying?
I guess for me, I love Yeezus, so it had more of like the Jesus is King plus Yeezus sound that I love. And that's why I really, really like it, because it's very just energized and like actually makes me think and like feel something different, you know?
I listen to it in the gym, and I think it's a great gym record.
Yeah.
I think it was a really good gym record. Outside of that, I don't really know where that record fits. And a lot of the country, the gyms are shut down. So if you don't go to the gym, how do you replay that record? Would you replay that record sitting in your house? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't listen to Yeezus in my house. I listen to Yeezus on a drive, or I listen to Yeezus at the gym. Interesting conversation for sure.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan